Hello and welcome to The Blitz, the Defense Analysis NFL podcast. I'm Big Italy 42. He is Josh Shepardson at Beachhead50, talking about all of your write-ups, your favorite defensive plays for this week. And it's a perfect week to get creative with your defenses here because there are some teams in good spots, some big spreads, as we'll get to, well, immediately. But definitely some under-the-radar options of some teams and a lot of meaningful games. And I love targeting defenses and teams and games that mean a lot, and there's quite a few that do this week. So we'll get into them here. Starting off the beginning, Seattle Seahawks against the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the Browns got a win last week, much to the chagrin of their fans probably, now messing up their draft pick. But this is still a bad offense. It's now missing Brian Hartline. And, I mean, you're pretty much with Johnny Manziel and Gary Barnidge and Duke Johnson, I guess. Isaiah Crowell looked good last week, but this is not the 49ers defense he's going to be running against this week.
No, and the Browns are also on the road, which doesn't help. They faced a visiting 49ers making the West Coast to East Coast trip. This time they go the opposite direction. They're going to one of the toughest stadiums to play in the league. Odds makers aren't swayed by their performance against the 49ers. 14.5-point underdogs. The Browns' biggest underdogs of the week. And, I mean, Johnny Manziel, he's looked okay this year. I mean, got to give credit where credit's due, but this is not the defense for his freewheeling and improvising. This is a defense that's going to punish him and get after him with the pass rush. And I think if he breaks contain and makes some of these ill-advised cross-field throws and silly chances, this secondary is going to punish him with forced turnovers. Browns have turned the ball over a lot this year. They've allowed a lot of sacks. That's going to really elevate the ceiling of the Seahawks, and the Seahawks have been on fire. And, I mean, as a club, the offense is getting most of the attention, and with Russell Wilson falling out the way he is, it's understandable. But this defense has been really good, especially the last 2 weeks. They've allowed just 13 points while scoring 73 points themselves. That's a plus 60 differential. I mean, anytime you can blow teams out like that, you put your defense in a very opportunistic position, and they're not allowing a lot of yardage. 427 yards of total offense the last 2 weeks combined. So, I mean, they are getting after it. That defense is playing at a really high level. And the Browns looked good last week because they could establish the run. They're not going to establish the run this week. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Johnny Manziel, and he just doesn't have the weapons or the skill set to make this defense pay.
No, he really doesn't. And this is just arguably the hottest team in football. I mean, outside of maybe Carolina, who obviously hasn't lost a game yet this season. But Seattle, like you said, I mean, they look great. You know they're going to put up points. Russell Wilson, doesn't matter all the injuries they've gotten now. He's still just getting it done, and the Browns don't have much of a chance to slow him down. So definitely going to be in catch-up mode here. Next up, the Patriots against the Titans, and we saw the Jets absolutely demolish this Titans offense. Only touchdown they scored was a reception by Marcus Mariota, who can do it all, but isn't going to be able to do it all for them against a team like the Patriots. And you imagine they're going to give up plenty of points. Obviously, Gronkowski back now, too. Patriots not quite completely healthy, but healthy enough that they should be able to put up points on this Titans defense, which means they're going to be in catch-up mode, which means take a lot of chances and see what you can do. And that might spell bad things for this Titans offense that has not been able to be consistent this year.
Yeah, and I expected the Titans to keep it close last week with the Jets. Marcus Mariota had been playing really good football, but as we saw, as anybody that watched any of the game saw, as you noted, Marcus Mariota can't be tasked with doing it all. I mean, he's got the skill set to do it all, but when you put that much on a rookie quarterback, it's just not going to work out. You're going to see 30-8 final scores like we did last week in that Jets game. New England can hang a similar point total, 13-point favorites. They're only a half-point behind Seattle as the biggest favorite of the week. They're also at home like the Seahawks. And this is like the collision of the best of both worlds. New England ranks second in the league in sacks. The Titans rank second in the league in sacks allowed. Add that up with a big deficit and playing catch-up, and you got some points coming New England's defense's way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Vegas certainly agrees with that. They don't think this one will even be close. And I mean, the team just lost by 22 to the Jets. The Jets have obviously played well, but they're still not the Patriots, so this one could get ugly. Next up, the Steelers against the Broncos. And if you say at the beginning of the year that you'd be playing the Steelers defense against the Broncos offense, you'd be laughed at. But now that we get to Week 15, and it's Brock Osweiler under center for an offense that scored a pretty sure it's one offensive touchdown in the last 2 games, coming off loss to the Raiders. Steelers fighting for their playoff lives. They've been a hot team, but still on the outside looking in. This is a big game for the Steelers, and as a Bengals fan, as much as I don't want to see the Steelers win, Broncos loss means a little bit more right now. So go Steelers defense.
Yeah, and I mean, odds makers peg the Steelers as 6-point favorites. The total's low. The Steelers' offense can hang some points, and while the Broncos' defense have been the stingiest in the league this year, I don't know if it matters. I mean, it's an offensive favored league where, I mean, you don't get close calls if you're on defense. Everything seems to work in the favor of the offense. So good luck to that really talented Broncos secondary, keeping up with the really talented Broncos receivers, with Big Ben playing as well as he is, with D'Angelo Williams able to keep him honest, rushing the football. And if the Steelers can score some points, that's going to put Brock Osweiler in a position where he's not allowed to just be a game manager. And we saw how that's worked out last week. A lot of bad balls for him, not making really great decisions. Did have his receivers and tight end drop a few passes on him, which is not obviously Osweiler's fault, but they just have not been a good offense with him under center. They've scored more than 20 points just one time in the 4 games that Osweiler started, and it's not like they've played a defensive murderer's row during that stretch either.
Yeah.
They played the Chargers. These are 2 below average defenses. They played the Bears, a 3rd below average defense. And to not put up 20 points against those defenses is just inexcusable, especially when, even as inconsistent as the Steelers have been, that defense is better than those 3 defenses that have held the Broncos below 20 points. So really like the matchup this week. Really like the potential for the Steelers to hang some points, force Brock Osweiler to throw the football. And furthermore, and I didn't really note it in the write-up, but I mean, this is a Broncos offense that really likes to rely on the running game. And the Steelers' run defense has been the one consistent for them all years, that they've been very good at stopping the run. Not a good formula for the Broncos to get the best of them. I mean, if the Steelers can stop the run and your bread is buttered by running the football, you're basically banging your head against the wall trying to run against the Steelers right now. If Osweiler can't keep them honest, so I like this matchup, like the total in this game. Really like the DraftKings price for the Steelers, but even 46 on FanDuel is a pretty good bargain price as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on board with that one. And now you got the Broncos looking in the rearview mirror, too, with the Chiefs as well as they're playing. And we'll get to them here in a minute. But first up, the Vikings, a defense that's played well all season. I mean, this is an offense that's not very good. And this defense has not only kept them in contention, but has them in, the middle of the playoff race. I mean, granted, the NFC is kind of down this year. I guess both conferences kind of are. But either way, they've remained competitive in just about every game because their defense has quietly been one of, I don't want to say one of the best, one of the more consistent units in the league this year.
Yeah, they had a decent showing against the Cardinals. I mean, they lost a close game, but it's not like Cardinals went out and hung 40 on them. The Vikings defense kept it competitive. They got after Carson Palmer, save for that ugly showing against the Seahawks, where that was just not a good matchup for them. The Seahawks run defense is really good. Adrian Peterson struggled, and Russell Wilson was red hot. But otherwise, the defense has been pretty good this year. And the Bears' offense just lacks playmakers. I mean, we're at a point where it's Alshon Jeffrey in the passing game, and the two-headed backfield of Jeremy Langford and Matt Forte. And they're not using, as you and I talked about before the podcast, not using Forte in the passing game like they have in years past. Forte used to be a really dynamic receiver in that passing game when Mark Trestman was the head coach. Hasn't really been the case with Adam Gase as the offensive coordinator. So the Bears 5.5 dogs, they fall behind. They're not really going to get to lean on that running duo of Forte and Langford. That means it's Alshon Jeffrey and basically nothing else. Zach Miller's looked good at times this year, coming off of a decent game. Vikings, okay defending tight ends, but ultimately, I just don't see the Bears scoring a lot of points. They haven't scored points this year, 29 per game. That's ranked 22nd in the league. So Vikings have a decent floor. Don't think their ceiling is super high because the Bears do keep Cutler upright, and they haven't turned the ball over a lot. But if you're just looking for a high floor at a low cost, Vikings can provide that at 4,600 or 2,500 on DraftKings, 46 on FanDuel. If I'm choosing between the value defenses, I like the Steelers better. But if you're looking to diversify, if you're getting in a lot of lineups, you want to get a couple other cheap defenses in there, the Vikings are definitely playable.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a team that I like to throw in some on there as a low-owned option as well. Next up, a team that probably will not be low-owned because they've been a very good defense now facing an offense that's likely to be led by Jimmy Clausen again. So since this is not Notre Dame football about a decade ago, then Jimmy Clausen's certainly a guy you want to target. And the Kansas City Chiefs, all of a sudden, after a 1-5 start, they're in the playoff race. They're in the playoffs as of today. they're not even completely out of the division. I mean, if the Broncos fall to the Steelers and or Bengals next couple weeks, then all of a sudden you got the Chiefs as a chance to take the division, which, I mean, I don't know what the betting odds were on that after week 6, but it had to be astronomical.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just on fire. The Chiefs have been playing so good. It's remarkable that they're only allowing 18.7 points per game when you consider that in a 3-week stretch from week 2 through week 4, they allowed 105 points. I mean, that should just derail their season in terms of points allowed per game, but it hasn't. They've really responded in a big way. They've ripped off a ton of wins in a row. They've only allowed 2 opponents to score 20 or more points since that ugly 3-week stretch. And, I mean, since their bye week, they've just forced turnovers in bunches. 13 turnovers forced since their week 9 bye, and they're playing really good football. They're getting after the quarterback and not allowing points. They're not allowing yards per play. 5.1 yards per play ranks as a top 5 mark in the league. So this isn't even just a bend but don't break defense. This is a defense that's not allowing points, and they're doing everything else well as well. So really an elite unit, and the only reason that they didn't rank with the elite defenses, got the nod in the GPPs instead, was because their spread isn't as large as that of the Seahawks and the Patriots, and because they're on the road. But I mean, otherwise, there's nothing not to like about this Chiefs defense. They are just unbelievable right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just, they've been so good right now, finally. And it's not like it's a fluke. This is a defense that was very good last year, just struggled at the beginning of this year. So next up, if you want to find a team that has low ownership, you want to find the team that everyone's talking about negatively on just about every media outlet in the entire world right now, saying the Bengals now all of a sudden in huge trouble despite their playoff odds of being ridiculously high. Facing the 49ers team that, yes, has been better at home, but this is still a bad team. And it's still a Bengals defense that's one of the better in points allowed per game. And, I mean, you figure the 49ers out here didn't score a touchdown until late in the fourth quarter against the Cleveland Browns defense last week. And that's not a good defensive unit in any way. So, Bengals under the radar. I know I'm biased. You all know I'm a Bengals fan. But I do expect the Bengals to put up some big numbers against the 49ers this week.
Yeah, and I mean, you hit the nail on the head as to why maybe some people should have some reservations and not go all in on the Bengals this week. Maybe limit their exposure to a handful of bullets, and that's that the 49ers have been good at home. They've been tough on teams at home. But that said, that's because their defense has been better at home. It's not a product of the offense. And as I noted with the Patriots, you got a matchup made in heaven with the sacks allowed by the Titans and the sacks recorded by the Patriots. Well, you kind of have the same thing here in the Bengals game, where the Bengals have allowed the second fewest points per game to opponents, and the 49ers have scored the fewest points per game. So nice little combination there. Really elevates the floor when a team can't score points. And Bengals defense has been really good this year. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the playmakers on offense and how Andy Dalton's taken a leap forward. Tyler Eifert's taken a leap forward. Running game has had some spurts where they've looked good depending on which back decides they want to play that week. But, I mean, the defense has been really good as well. They get sacks. They force turnovers. They don't allow a lot of points. They do allow a few they're not great in terms of yards allowed per play, but this is a defense that has been kind of the bend but don't break philosophy, where you can give up some yardage, but when it comes to clamping down in the red zone, they're not allowing a lot of points. And the 49ers just don't have the offensive weapons to beat these guys. My only reservation is that I don't believe that the Bengals are going to race out to a big lead with McCarron under center, but it's kind of offset by the fact that if they do run a run-heavy approach this week, you're looking at the clock just ticking away, and fewer possessions, fewer opportunities for the 49ers offense to score, which again, that also elevates the floor for this unit. But ultimately, the fact that the 49ers have allowed the most sacks in the league and the Bengals can get after the quarterback, that was really the factor that pushed this team over the edge. And while I keep harping on the floor being high for the Bengals, all those sacks allowed by the 49ers and the Bengals' ability to get after the quarterback also elevates their ceiling quite a bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely a good spot there. Next up, a team that, if you just look at the score of this past week's Sunday night game, you're going to look and think, well, the defense didn't play well. Patriots had their way with them. And while the Patriots did make plays when they needed to make plays, the Houston Texans defense was not the reason why they lost that game to the Patriots. They got after the quarterback. They sacked Tom Brady. I don't know the number offhand, but they were pressuring him all game. I mean, the difference was When they had the opportunities to score, they didn't. And when the Patriots had the opportunity to score, you get things like a fade to Rob Gronkowski in the corner of the end zone, and there might not be a single person on the planet who can stop that play.
No, and I put another way, I mean, the Patriots are going to do that to everybody. When they've got a healthy Gronk, they're basically unguardable. But the Colts don't have a Gronk. They don't have a Tom Brady. They have a 40-plus-year-old quarterback who's finally starting to show his age after a nice start in relief of Andrew Luck. The wheels have come off the last 2 weeks. They have not scored many points. They've been sacked a ton. They've scored 26 points while turning the ball over 5 times in their last 2 games with Hasselbeck starting. Obviously, Clipboard Jesus came in relief for Hasselbeck for a little bit 2 weeks ago. But, I mean, the Colts offense is sputtering at this point. And the Texans, I mean, as you noted, there are some defenses in here that have a lot to play for this week. Texans have the AFC South up for grabs. They are on the road. There isn't a spread posted yet because we don't even know who's starting at quarterback for either team. But we do know the Texans have a lot of defensive talent, and it starts with J.J. Watt. They can get after the quarterback. They can force turnovers. And they had that nice stretch before losing 2 games in a row where they were tough for 4 weeks. And I'm not willing to just overlook that stretch of production because I think that really highlights the ceiling for this team. And as we say time and time again on the podcast, in GPPs, you're looking for ceiling, and the Texans certainly have that. And that ceiling comes with just a $2,500 price tag on DraftKings. And that's $1,700 cheaper than the Seahawks. Really like getting that ceiling, plus that huge salary cap saving to spend up elsewhere. On FanDuel, not as enamored with them at $4,800, but obviously that's going to go into knocking their ownership rate down. So you're looking at probably under, I say 0 to 5% in the article, but I'm thinking probably lower than 3% on FanDuel. 5%, 0 to 5 is probably a fair estimate on DraftKings where, I mean, people do look for salary relief, and J.J. Watt has some name recognition. But again, this is a defense that's not going to be high owned, and it does have a high ceiling, which is just the combination that you're looking for in GPPs.
Yeah, I mean, you get the best defensive player on the planet, and it's not even close. That's certainly, I'd play him by himself in a couple GPPs against anyone. So definitely get yourself some exposure there. That'll wrap things up for us here for this week. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got lots of other great content at dailyfantasycafe.com.